students, how are you all? I hope you all are doing good. So this is going to be our part 2 section or part of chapter 1 class 10th NCERT textbook, that is chemical reactions and chemical equations. So already in the first chapter we have already completed about the chemical reactions. So we have completed about now what are chemical reactions and where does this chemical reactions happen to, and then we have also studied about the features or the characteristics of chemical reactions by seeing certain day-to-day examples in which these chemical reactions happen, understanding the chemical equations. So let's get started. Alright, so first thing first, we are going to see what all we are going to cover in this part 2, that is chemical equation. So first of all, we will see what is chemical equation is all about. Then we will see what are the components of chemical equation, how does this chemical equation can be written and what does it need. And number 3, we are going to see how we can balance them. Okay, so balancing is also important. Alright students. So as from the first section, we already understood that the chemical reactions have change in their chemical composition. We already know this, right? So we know about chemical composition is right, like if we talk about the quality of the elements, right? So we have understood that the elements which are present inside the reactions, or when we write the reactions, the elements which are present in the reactant sites are going to be changed, because if we suppose we are going to react the sodium with chlorine, we will get what? Sodium chloride. So this is a change of chemical composition, since the reactant site sodium is no longer sodium in the product site. It has been changed and become sodium chloride. So in this way we can say that there is a change in chemical composition. Number second point, we have understood that although change in chemical composition is happening, but there is a constant or conservation of mass in the whole reaction. Now how can we say that conservation of mass is maintained? By balancing the number of atoms present in the whole chemical reaction. That means the number of atoms of an element present on the reactant side should be balanced out with the number of atoms of an element present in the product side. So this is the number one rule you need to understand. That is why we need to balance the whole chemical equation, right? So how can we see that conservation of mass is maintained? This is an example. So as you can see in the reactant sites, there are two elements, right? One is hydrogen and one is oxygen. I have already told you that this part, which is the superscript of an element, will describe what? The molecule. Superscript is always molecule. And the subscript, okay, which is written down, is considered as atoms. So there are two molecules of hydrogen and two atoms of oxygen, two atoms of hydrogen. So in total, we can see there are 4 atoms of hydrogen present here. Similarly, as we see oxygen, you can see there are 2 atoms of oxygen but 1 molecule of oxygen. So we have balanced it out. As you can see, there is a need to know how we are going to balance them. But before balancing, we need to know what are the components of a chemical equation. And for the knowing the components of chemical equation, it is important to know what is a chemical equation. So, dear students, as we have learnt about the chemical reaction, that is the combination of certain elements which are present on the reactant sites, and that gives, when they combine, they will give out the product. So, the writing of that chemical reaction which is happening in certain elements has a type of way, right? So that way, in chemistry, that way of writing chemical reaction is termed as chemical equation. So in this chemical equation, there are two components, reactant sites and the product sites. I have already told you that in a chemical equation, the left hand side will tell you about the reactants. Reactants means the elements which are going to combine in order to form the product. So as you can see, the reactants and products are separated by an arrow. So arrow here, when we verbally says the chemical equation, so we says not arrow, we says two molecules or four atoms of hydrogen plus, yeah, when combined with the oxygen gas gives. So arrow donates gives, okay, will give water. So this is the reactant sides and this is the product side, and arrow donates gives. Okay, so these are the general components of a chemical equation. Why do we balance equation? Simply in the law of conservation of mass. Okay, we do not need to mismatch the quantity. Okay, so that is why to maintain the mass we need to balance the equations. Okay, so as you can see here, here is an example of balanced equation example. So first of all, before balancing, you need to know there are certain rules which can ease out in balancing the equations. Now what are these rules? So if we take the magnesium element and we need to burn it, so we will have O2, and this is the reaction. So this reaction, if we label it, we know that this is reactant sides and this is the product side. Okay, now the second most thing which we need to know, that this magnesium is going to react with oxygen and it is forming magnesium oxide. So when we will try to balance these equations, first of all we need to mention this is your left hand side and this is going to be your right hand side. So how many elements are given to you in the reactant side? You just mention it like this: magnesium and oxygen. Here also magnesium and oxygen. Now tell me how many atoms are there in left hand side for the magnesium. Can you see it? Yes, we can see it. There is only one atom of magnesium here, and in the reactant side oxygen are two. Here also one and here also one. But as you can see, the magnesium is balanced out. Magnesium is balanced out, and what is not balanced? Oxygen is 2, oxygen is 1. So we are going to balance oxygen first. Okay. So when you able to see that there is oxygen in the reactant side, 2 atoms of oxygen are there, you just simply add 2 here. This is the second rule. You need to mention only the molecules. Means you need to mention only the superscript. You're not going to change any atoms, means you're not going to change any subscript. You need to change only the superscript. Atoms you need not to change, but you need to change the molecules. You need to mention molecules like this. When we have two here, we added here 2. Now oxygen become 2, and here also you can see these are balanced out. So LHS side is equal to right hand side. So these are certain rules which are just made so that it get easy to balance out the chemical equation. First, and also one more thing, before balancing the chemical equation, an unbalanced chemical equation is known as skeletal equation. Skeletal equation. So this is the equation which is unbalanced. Okay, when you balance it, it becomes the balanced equation. So by certain examples, we understood how we are going to balance out the chemical equations. Likewise, as you can see, there is one more example the NCERT has given to you. We already know the skeletal equation is the one which is unbalanced. So here magnesium ribbon is going to be combined with or react with oxygen, or it's burning. So always remember the burning gas is oxygen gas. So you can see this is the skeletal equation, and then you balance it out and it becomes the balanced equation. Similarly, there is one more examples and which is unbalanced. Let us see we can balance it out or not. So this one is zinc, which is going to be get combined with hydrochloric acid. So it is forming what? ZnCl2 plus H2. So as per the formulas, we need to write left hand side, and here it is right hand side. So in left hand side, how many elements are there? Zinc is there, hydrogen is there, and chlorine is there. So you can see I have separated out this HCl in order to write particular elements separately. So in the right hand side also there is zinc is there, hydrogen is there and chlorine is there. So now we are going to write how many atoms are present. Here zinc 1, hydrogen 1, chlorine is also 1. Here zinc 1, hydrogen is 2 and chlorine is also 2. Now we are going to balance it out. So you can see zinc is already balanced, but hydrogen is not balanced. So you can see hydrogen here is 2 and here is 1. So if we simply add 2 here, so what happened now? Now hydrogen become 2, chlorine become 2 as well, right? So now they are balanced. Yes, now they are balanced. So this become the balanced equation. You see, you all need to just add the molecule. You are not going to touch any atoms. Okay. So in this way we can balance out the chemical equations. So now it's the time for NCERT questions. Let us see what are the exercise questions are asking you about. Okay, so exercise 1.1, chemical reactions and equations. So here you need to state the types of chemical reactions in the following cases. As you can see, burning of magnesium in air. So two elements are being combined and the synthesis or combination reaction is taking place and they are forming one compound, that is magnesium oxide. Then heating of calcium carbonate, as you can see, the calcium carbonate is being split up. So, or it is decomposed into two more elements. So, it is a decomposition reaction. Zinc reacted with hydrochloric acid. This is the equation, displacement reaction, because zinc being the highly reactive get combined with the chlorine and displace hydrogen. Alright, as you can see here, reaction between sodium chloride and silver nitrate. So it is a double displacement reaction where sodium because of highly reactivity, it get attached with NO3 and form sodium nitrate here, and Ag become or get combined with AgCl forming silver chloride. Now there are unbalanced reaction, means that these are the skeletal reaction as you can see here. So we are going to balance it out. So there is iron, as you can see we are going to mention left hand side elements Fe, oxygen, and right hand side iron and oxygen. How many atoms are there? 1, oxygen 2, here 2, oxygen 3. So simply we are going to first balance out iron here. So iron here is 1, we are going to make it 2 just by writing 2 here. So iron is being balanced out. Now what about oxygen? 2 is there, oxygen here is 3. So what we are going to do? We are going to write 3 here. Now how many atoms of oxygen? 6. So we just simply going to write what? Here we are going to write 2. So here it become 4 iron and it become 6. And now here, now since iron become 4 here, so we are going to cancel out 2. We are going to write 4 Fe. So it will become, what will be the balance equation would be? It would be 4 molecules of iron get react with 6 atoms of oxygen, and then it will give out. So this is the balance equation, you can see. Similarly, we are going to see the next question. So hydrogen gas is there. So H in the left hand side there are 2 and chlorine 2, and then here 1, chlorine is 1 here. So first we will balance out hydrogen here. As you can see, 2 atoms are present in the left hand side. So we just put 2 here, 2, and now you can see chlorine is also balanced. So this is the balance equation as you can see on the screen right now. So this has become the balanced equation. So write the chemical equations for the following reactions. So here some wordings had been wording should be given. So here so here some naming reactions has been given. You need to convert these names into proper formula, proper symbol, and write the chemical equation. Magnesium ribbon burning in air. So statement is there. So what you'll do, magnesium, burning in air means oxygen gas is being combined and then it will form magnesium oxide. Similarly, sulfur dioxide reacts with oxygen, so we'll get the sulfates, right? It's an acidic rain. So calcium oxide reacts with water to form calcium hydroxide. So it is simple. You need to calcium oxide which will react with water H2O and it will give out what? Calcium hydroxide. So You need to balance it as well. So Ca 1, oxygen is 1, hydrogen is 2. Oxygen is not 1, see 2 are there. So we will mention 2. Here right hand side, oxygen and hydrogen. Calcium is 1, oxygen is 2 and hydrogen is 2. So it is balanced. So this is the reaction for calcium hydroxide formation. Okay, so this you can see, this is the reaction. Write a chemical equation. Why should chemical, okay, what is a chemical equation and why should chemical equations be balanced? So we already know chemical equation is the equation in which we write down the reactants and product sides. All the elements are being balanced out. And why there is a need of balancing the chemical equation? In order to maintain the law of conservation of mass. So there are more applications of chemical reaction. What is meant by displacement reaction? You need to give the example as well. We have already covered this section in the content, so you can check it out. Next one, what is meant by double displacement reaction? I have already told you. You need to define your answers by giving 1 or 2 examples. It is mandatory to provide examples in the answer sheet as well. So in this question, it is asking you write the equation for the reaction of sodium with water. Oxygen is 2, sodium is 2. So now everything is balanced out. So now this is your balanced chemical equation. 2Na plus 2H2O gives 2NaOH plus H2. You can check as well. Hydrogen is 4, right? Here also hydrogen is 4. Oxygen is 2, oxygen is 2. Sodium is 2, sodium is 2. This is the balanced chemical equation. Alright. What is meant by double displacement reaction? We have already covered this one. Next one, what is meant by redox reaction? So redox reaction is a type of chemical reaction, means it is where both oxidation, means it is a kind of ionic equation, you know. Loss of electrons are there and reduction or gain of electrons both occur. Okay, you can say when an aqueous solution of sodium chloride reacts with an aqueous solution of silver nitrate. So this is sodium chloride which get sodium nitrate, means AgNO3. What will happen? So it is a double displacement reaction, right? You can see Na will combine with NO3, Ag will combine with this. So this is double displacement reaction happens. Okay. Now the next one, what happens when magnesium reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid? Write the equation. You can see this is a displacement reaction. Single displacement reaction, right? Mg get combined with Cl, they displace it and hydrogen get exit out. So you just need to write so. Okay, my dear students, so that's all for this chapter. We have completed chapter number 1. Stay tuned with this series because I'm going to continue with the chapter 2 of class 10th NCERT textbook. Then keep on learning and keep on revising. Bye.